Today we're going to talk about ethanol and what it does to your carburetor and gaskets and rubber O-rings and everything in your fuel system in the long term. All right, now, the first thing I want to say is that, yes, E10, E15, E85, yeah, they're not going away. They're not leaving. It's here to stay, okay? But there are some things you can do to protect your carburetor and your fuel system, okay? The thing about ethanol, alcohol, it's corrosive. It's corrosive to aluminum and metal parts, okay? Not necessarily brass, but especially aluminum. And anything in a carburetor that's been produced from, I don't care, the 30s, the 40s, up into the, 70s, 80s, 90s, a carburetor is made out of aluminum and rubber. And they aren't those, and those pieces are the ethanol acts like an acid to it. It leaves deposits, it erodes, it dissolves rubber O-rings and gaskets that aren't formulated for them. Okay, so you can get, they're a little pricey, but you can get retrofit gaskets and pieces for carburetors. Okay, there is nothing you can do about them, about the ethanol destroying the carburetor from the inside out. There's nothing you can do. Now, for your fuel, that when I think about the retro kits, I'm talking about for the fuel delivery system to the carburetor. Okay, your bargain basement O'Reilly's, 3/8 inside diameter rubber fuel line is not going to cut it. Okay. It's going to degrade. It's going to, as soon as that fuel hits it, it's starting to degrade it from the point. Now, the speed of everything getting eaten up is relative. Where you live, what the temperature is like, what season it is, all those kind of things. How long it's been sitting in the garage for the winter with that in the fuel bowl. I watched a very interesting video about when NASCAR went to E15 and how they went from never having to rebuild a carburetor to having to rebuild a carburetor after every race, because carburetors they would have specific carburetors for specific races, right? And they would sit on the shelf with fuel residue in the bowls. Okay, they try to dump them out best they could, but they couldn't take them back off the shelf and reuse them because that fuel had started eroding the bowls, had gummed up the works, had gotten all the little orifices and the pores and just turned into molasses. Okay, that's the problem. Is that this is just, we're not talking about months, we're just talking about a couple months, maybe a couple months in between races. That carburetor sat on the shelf and it corroded just from the residue. What do you think it'd do if it sat for months with it inside the bowl that deep? Your carburetor's basically, if not ruined, it's going to have a rebuild. It's not going to run right. Would you like to be part of something special? Uncle Buck's Garage now has memberships, and that's a open opportunity to be behind the scenes, to get information nobody else gets to see, to see things, possibly get to see things before anybody else sees them, things like that. If you would like that opportunity, there's a link down below for the memberships for Uncle Buck's Garage. Please sign up. And that's the problem with outboards, with on boats. That's a problem with motorcycles, a problem with lawnmowers. Anything that has a carburetor on it that's produced now new with a carburetor on it is susceptible to this. Okay, so what's the fix? Well, the only fix there is to not use it. Okay, now there's I'm going to put a link down below. There is a website that you can go on and you can look up locally where there is gas stations that have gasoline without ethanol in them. It's a terrific resource, and it pulls it up and tells you around your area where you can go to get non-ethanol added fuels. Okay. The other thing is, if you're in a pinch, okay, and you're going to have to go higher octane, okay, because the ethanol is in most of the tanks already, but there are the premium stuff usually doesn't have any ethanol in it. It'll say, you have to read, on all the, you walk up to one that has 5 or 6 different options. You got to read all of them to make sure you're getting what you want. Okay. I know it's a little bit more expensive. Okay. But that is also a possibility, is to just not buy it. Educate yourself and watch what you're doing at the pump and just not buy it. Now, like I said, 2001 and newer, they have computer controls which can affect the air-fuel ratio, which we're going to get back to. Don't go nowhere, because we're going to get back to air-fuel ratio, okay? And they also have the new formulated O-rings, gasket material, the stuff inside the injectors. Most generally, it's going to have injectors and fuel systems. They're all going to have being made specifically for using 5 to 20% ethanol, just to cover the gambit of what the customer may pull up on the pump. Okay. Now, to get back to air fuel ratio, the higher the ethanol amount in the fuel, the leaner it's going to run. That's just the way it is. The E85, when it comes to methanol, ethanol, E85, whatever you want, alcohol, whatever you're doing, it takes volume to make the same horsepower as it does regular gas, regular non-ethanol edited gas, or premium gasoline, or whatever you want to get, even if you want to go race gas. Okay, it just burns better. It does. I mean, you can argue with me about it all you want. It just burns better. Regular gasoline burns better. Okay, so. And I keep getting these because of the first video, which I hope you guys will go watch. I keep getting these things about taking jugs and water and everything and separating ethanol from the gas. Well, I'm sorry. I have a life. And, it makes a great video, but I'm not going to do that. I have, like I said, I got 2 miles down the road. I have a nice little Sinclair gas station that got zero ethanol, and that's what I buy. And it's a little bit more expensive, but I'm not going to take time out of my life to go get a jug, go get a second jug, a clear jug, some kind of jug that you can see, add water or additive, whatever, to the gas to separate the gas from the ethanol, and then skim it off and hope you don't get any of that in your gas tank. I'm sorry. I have a life. I just, and a lot of political stuff. And I have made it a point that this channel will not get political. Okay. We're dealing with what we have. Okay. You're dealing with what you got. Okay. So it's the same thing with oils. They're formulated different than they were 40 years ago. Now we're in gas, and now it's being formulated different than it was 40 years ago. It's a whole different animal. It's just helpful information to get you through to what you need to do for your personal thing. Okay? I don't want to talk politics. I don't at all. This is not what this is about. This is what you can do to help yourself and your ride survive this. I hope this helped give you some more information about what we have to deal with our classic vehicles nowadays, and your lawnmowers and your weed eaters and your chainsaws and all that stuff. Okay, there just is no fix besides learning what you're willing to live with, and that's the sad part about it, is just having to learn with what you're willing to deal with. Hope I said that right. Anyways, I appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next one. So if you want to see my best little video ever made, right here. If you want to see the one that they say is best for you, is right there. Y'all be good.